You're listening to Plants and Politics with Gina Bonanno-Lemos. If you're ready to hear the truth about both sides of the aisle, what's really going on in America, and how big money interests prevent change to keep you sick, broke, and desperate, then play on. Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. This is Gina. I have breaking news that is awesome in the Epstein case. Just to catch everyone up to speed who may not know all the details, Jeffrey Epstein, he's the notorious, alleged, accused child trafficker, child sex abuser, and currently his longtime girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, is in prison awaiting trial for the same charges. So back in 2007, there was a case brought forth. There were dozens of women who came forward as victims, alleged victims. And these girls basically were just thrown under the bus. What ended up happening was that the then prosecutor in the state of Florida, Alex Acosta, yes, the same Alex Acosta who was Trump's labor secretary, made a deal behind the victim's back, gave Epstein basically a slap on the wrist with a 13-month work release non-prosecution deal that allowed him to plead guilty to lesser charges of solicitation of prostitution rather than child trafficking or child rape, which is what he was going to be charged with, specifically the child trafficking. So he got 13 months on work release where he was allowed to go home or allowed to go to work 6 days a week and only truly spent the night in prison each night and all day on Sunday. So that was it. But to make matters worse, and what this new potential good news stems from, is the fact that his victims were not told. So in the United States, there are victims' rights, and victims are to be notified if there's a plea agreement that's being considered. And then the victims have the right to speak up and say, yeah, we're okay with that, or no, we're not. However, these victims were not notified whatsoever. They were completely kept in the dark about the entire thing until it was all done and signed, sealed, and delivered. So one of the victims, named Courtney Wild, petitioned the court and asked that they dismiss this agreement due to the violation of the victim's rights. And she was asking the court that they restore the original charges of child sex trafficking against Epstein. Well, it went before an appellate panel. It was a 3-person panel, and they ruled against her in a 2-1 decision. Now, I will say they weren't happy about it. All 3 of the panel of judges said that it was horrific and it was, an affront to the justice system and just awful. They didn't like it. However, 2 of them said, hey, our hands are tied. This is the law. We have to follow the law. Well, the one judge who dissented, he dissented very strongly and made no bones about it and said basically that the other 2 judges were misreading the law, that this was not what was intended by the Victims' Rights Act. So anyway, they ruled against her. The reason they gave was they said that since prosecutors never brought charges against Epstein in the federal court system in South Florida, his victims weren't legally allowed to seek relief under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. Well, they kept fighting. Thank God these women are fighters. They're not giving up. I mean, this has been many years. And the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta has now agreed to vacate that 2-1 decision and allow the victims' attorneys to bring forth a new appeal, and they will hear the case. So this is such good news. It's not a done deal that, they're going to get these charges reinstated, but it absolutely is a win. a small win, at least for right now. They're at least going to get their day in court and see if they can get these charges reinstated. Now, you might be saying, why in Atlanta, right? All of this previously had taken place in Florida. The appeals court or appellate panel was in Florida. The original decision in 2008 was in Florida. The reason is because a judge had ruled that Alex Acosta did violate these victims' rights and that it was inappropriate the way the whole thing went down. So the Florida prosecutors have recused themselves from the case. So it was taken to Atlanta, Georgia. So that's where it's at, guys. Really great news. And as soon as I hear anything else, I will let you know. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.